Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful industrial base. Let's get started. I've used plastic card to add a panel on top of the base, and now I will use these styrene pipes from AK Interactive to create a beautiful wire that will be laying on top of the base. You just need to apply a little bit of pressure on it and it will bend like this. Now it's time to attach the wire to the base using super glue. Now let's get into the painting part. Let's start with a base coat of black. I've used Abaddon black here. Next we will add a layer of a 1-to-1 mix of Dawnstone and Abaddon black. Next up, we will add a glaze of Dawnstone. Next, use an old brush to create a stippling effect using a 1-to-1 mix of Fenrisian Grey and Dawnstone. Just add some glaze consistency paint onto your brush and start dabbing it at the base. Next, we will add some stippling using a 1-to-1 mix of Dawnstone and Fenrisian Grey. And the final layer of stippling will be done with Fenrisian Grey. Remember, whenever we are doing stippling like this, use glaze consistency. Just as a reminder, glaze consistency means paint mixed in a 1:3 ratio with water, so very watered down paint. Next, we will paint the Aquila, and first we will base coat it with Rhinox hide. We want to achieve a rusty effect here, so we will add a glaze of Troll Slayer orange all over the surface of the Aquila. Next, we will add some stippling using Troll Slayer orange and glaze consistency once again. Now let's add some shading to the base. The first coat of shading will be done with Seraphim Sepia wash. Add it in a few random spots, just like I'm doing it here. The next bit of shading will be done using the glaze of a 1-to-1 mix of Rhinox hide and Abaddon black. Again, add it in a few random spots. Next, using an old brush, sprinkle some Seraphim Sepia all over the base. Next up, edge highlight the entirety of the base using Fenrisian Grey. Use layer consistency for all of your edge highlights. Let's also add a couple of scratches using Fenrisian Gray, so the same color we've used for the edge highlights, to create more realism and more textures on the base. The final detail that we have to paint on the base is this wire here. This will be a yellow hazard stripe wire, so let's start with a base coat of Ushabti bone. Next, for the fine black lining, you will need a good brush. Use layer consistency black to sketch some lines. These do not have to be perfect from the first try, because you can always go back with some Ushabti bone and clean the lines to try to make them as even as possible. Take your time with this step, rotate the bit that you're painting, and try to be as comfortable as possible while doing this. Unfortunately, there is no magic advice that I can give you here that will guarantee that you will achieve an amazing result from the first try. The only advice that I can give you here is make sure that you have a good brush with a fine tip of the brush. Make sure that you're using layer consistency and that you are giving yourself enough time. And here is how it looks before we add the yellow. Next, we will add a 50-50 mix of Vianden yellow contrast mixed with contrast medium all over the wire. This will give it a nice rich yellow color. Next up, we will add some Vianden yellow contrast straight from the pot in a few random places. Next, let's add some Seraphim Sepia on the sides of the cable to create a nice contrasting warm effect towards the outer sides of the cable. Now let's add some highlights, and for that we will be using Ushabti bone glaze consistency, and we will be adding that on the top part of the cable. Now we will use Ivory from AK Interactive to create a very bright highlight in the middle of the cable. Next up, we will add an edge highlight using Ivory from AK Interactive. Add this very sparingly, so we don't want a very thick line here, just a very fine, sharp line. Now let's add some more weathering. This time we will use watered down Trolls Layer Orange towards the Aquila. As the Aquila is rusty, adding some subtle orange around it will create a natural effect, as rusty parts usually color their surroundings. Up next, we will create a very subtle highlight using a glaze of ivory, and we will add this paint towards the outer edges of the stone here. And finally, for the final highlight, we will add a few dots using pure white on the very edges of the stone. This will really make the stone pop. And here is the final result. I really hope you like this one. If you do, please give this video a like, and also please consider supporting me on Patreon, where you can find a massive amount of my tutorials. Actually, the next tutorial on my Patreon will be about creating this amazing water effect on your bases. As you can see, the pipe is connected to the base using the water, which is not easy to do. So if you would like to know how I've made it, and if you would like to repeat this yourself, you can check it out on my Patreon. The link to my Patreon is in the description of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.